All right, sitting here in the classroom with T. Shive
What up?
and that other kid. Anyway, so here comes your review. So, for the test, the easiest part of your grammar will be direct object pronouns. You've got 4 different kinds. You've got lo, la, los, and las. Now, when you have all right, so when you've got these little sentences going on, you're basically just looking for the article in the first sentence, and that's your answer. If the article is L, then obviously L is not la, it's not plural, so it's not those, so the only one left over is lo. This is the only weird one. L goes with lo. Otherwise, you're going to see las, and that goes with las, and so on and so forth. So that's the cheap and easy way to do it, and that'll usually treat you right. But just to be sure, you can actually translate the sentence. Where did you buy the dress? I bought it at Marshall's because I'm styling and profiling. Now, the next one, where did you put the flowers? I put them on the table. So I put them on the table. Las puse en la mesa. And then the last one, this one's a little bit crazy. I went to the bank to cash a check, but forgot something at my house. What did I forget? I forgot the check, which would be un cheque, so it would be lo. Lo olvidé en mi casa. If you have one that has 2 articles on it, then you're going to go with the first article. So, compraste el pastel para la fiesta. I'm always going to go with the first article. So that would be el, so it would be sí, lo compré en HEB. Now you can always go back and translate this sentence. Did you buy the cake for the party? Yes, I bought it in HEB. Or you can just go with the first article, and that's probably right. All right, so that's it on direct object pronouns. Let's move on to commands, your best friend. So I got 2 commands, and I've got usted and ustedes commands. Now, 2 commands, I got 2 different kinds, right? I got affirmative, and I've got negative. And actually, I have affirmative and negative over here too. But the ones that you're going to have to go back and remember are, well, you're going to have to remember all of these. But anyway, the point is, the 2 affirmative commands are pretty easy, minus there's a couple irregular ones. 2 affirmative is just putting the verb in the usted form of the present tense. So that's pretty easy. Negative 2 command and usted and ustedes commands, whatever type, they can be negative or affirmative, those are going to be just like the subjunctive that we've been working on. So these should be the easiest part of your study time. This one is maybe the one that you need to focus on the most. So let's get that going. All right, so affirmative 2 commands. You're literally just going to do the usted form of the verb. So you've got caminar. Bottom left-hand box of that would be camina. So if I wanted to tell you in the to form to walk faster, camina más rápido. Okay, that's all I would have to do. Super easy. Now there's some irregulars, and here they are. All right, so I've got decir, and the irregular 2 command of that is di. Salir is sal. Hacer is haz. Ser is se with an accent. Ir is ve. No accent. Tener is ten. Manten for mantener. And the only reason it's got an accent there is because you still want the stress in the ten part, just like you did here. Okay? And then venir is ven, and poner is pon. Okay? Almost all of those are on your test. So you might want to make sure you memorize those or re-memorize those from a while ago. Now, if I have any sort of pronoun, and that's DOPs, direct object pronouns, or indirect object pronouns, or reflexive pronouns, and that would be the may, te, say, nos, say. If I have any of that stuff with an affirmative command, it's going to be attached to the end of it. So if I wanted to say walk the plank, and let's assume that the plank is a feminine word, so I'm going to take camina, And if I'm saying walk the plank, that's like me saying walk it, right? So I'm going to put the la on the end of it, camina la, but I have to add an accent to show where the stress would be. So if y'all remember this, this is where you cover up that pronoun for a second and you pronounce the word camina, camina. Where do you hear the stress? Camina, you hear it on the I. So that gets my accent, and that's where I would put it, and I'd be done. Okay? Also, 1, 2, 3 syllables back, and that's where I am. Okay? There's 2 ways to do that. Affirmative commands. Write this down and memorize it. If I have room, here we go. Affirmative commands. Okay, so with affirmative to commands, your pronouns are always going to be attached to the end of the verb. Every time it's going to look like this right here. Okay? So that is your affirmative to commands. That's all of them. The weird ones, like I said, are right here. Oops. And these down here. Secret answer 3. So these 9. Decir is di, salir is sal, mantener is mantén, hacer is haz, ser is se, venir is ven, ir is ve, tener is ten, and poner is pon. Those are your irregulars. Everything else, all I got to do is do the usted form of the verb. Etc., etc. Those are some more examples for you, okay? All right, so now we've got negative to commands, and this should be getting into the territory of stuff that looks familiar to you. First of all, you should know all of this, but I mean, this is similar to the stuff we've been doing lately, so this should look a little bit better to you. So I'm going to take the yo form, so hablo. I'm going to cross off the O, and then if it was an AR verb, which hablar is, then I'm going to use the to form of an ER-IR verb. So it would be hables. Okay, so, and by the way, these are negative to commands, so it's always going to have no in front of it. So no hables, no comas instead of comer, no bailes, etc. Okay, there's a couple of irregulars, not that many. Here they are. You've got dar is going to be no des. Estar, no estés. Ir, no vayas. And ser, no seas. These are exactly the same way that you're going to find these in the to form subjunctive. So these should look familiar to you. Oops. There you go. Sorry about that. So these should look familiar to you, okay? Keep that in mind. It's really not that much of a surprise here. The big deal with no negative to commands is that with any kind of negative command, negative to, negative usted, negative ustedes, anything, you're always going to put the pronoun between no and the verb. So if I wanted to say eat it, that would be comela, right? That's an affirmative command. So I'm attaching the la, which happens to be my direct object pronoun here, onto the end of it. Now, if I were saying don't eat it, instead it would be no la. La is between no and the verb. And then it would be comas in the to negative command. Okay? Moving on. So I've been talking a lot about direct object pronouns like lo and la and los and las. Those are going to happen a lot. But we've also got the reflexive verbs. So I could also say wake up and don't wake up. So let's try that. These are both in the to command form, okay? So wake up would be despierta, because it's despertarse. And I'm telling it to you. So despierta would be the usted form of despertar, and then that makes it a to command. And then I'm going to add te on the end because it's you that I want to wake up. So despiertate, and I'm going to hear that accent on the E, and that's also 3 syllables back. So that's how I say wake up command. And then if I say don't wake up, it would be no, and then I put the te in the middle, get rid of that, and despiertes. Got it? Next. All right. So now I've got the car, gar, and zar verbs. Car is going to go to K. Gar is going to go to gay. And zar is going to go to say. Just like in the preterite yo form of those verbs, except for without the accent on the end. So that's how I would write the irregular -2 command of don't touch that. No lo toques. Okay? And gar, don't play. No juegues. And zar, don't eat lunch. No almuerces. Got it? GER verbs, and the only one I think that we keep seeing here is escoger. In the yo form, it has a J, which is a long grammar rule away. But anyway, because of that J, I'm going to keep that, and it would be escojas. Okay? For the -2 command. For the regular 2 command, it would just be escoge, and it can keep that G. All right, don't forget about your go verbs, and here's a list of them. I am sure there are more, but it is so hard to remember all of them. So all of these in the yo form, poner, and the yo form present tense would be pongo, and so since it's an ER verb, it's going to be pongas. Make sense? And again, these are all negative, right? Because in the affirmative command for poner, it would be pon. That's one of the weird ones, right? Hacer would be as. And over here it would be no hagas. Hopefully y'all know what I'm talking about right now. Okay? Now, with usted and ustedes commands, you are literally just going to be removing this S and either leaving it as it is for usted or changing it to an N, no jueguen, for ustedes. Okay? And usted commands are going to be this way whether they're affirmative or whether they're negative. So the only thing with usted and ustedes commands is that they're just like the subjunctive. Okay, so that's great. Super easy. You've been doing the subjunctive. You should remember it. The only thing you need to remember is if it's an affirmative command, you're going to write command with the pronoun on the end, and then you're going to put the accent wherever it belongs. And if it's negative, you're going to say no and then lo, for example, for the pronoun, and then you're going to put the command. Okay, so keep that straight. That's the same for 2 commands, it's the same for usted commands, and it's the same for ustedes commands. The only weird command that you've learned is the 2 affirmative commands are the ones that are just like the usted form. They're just like the usted form of the verb, okay? And then I've got this list of 9 weird ones that are right here, okay? That's my 2 affirmative commands. When I start making 2 negative commands, that is when it starts looking like what we've been doing, where I take the yo form, I cross over and do the opposite ending, and I'm going to put the S on it because it's 2. So that's my -2 commands. Again, for usted and ustedes, all I have to do now is take off the S on the end of what I did and either leave it that way for usted or add an N for ustedes. So let me show you the 4 different ways that you would see the verb bailar and hacer. Ooh, I hope I have time. Okay, I've added in a couple more options as well. So for 2, so this is just the usted form, which is my 2 affirmative command. For 2 negative, I'm going to do that crossover, and so it'd be no bailes. And then usted, baile, and then bailen, no if I needed it. For hacer, it's irregular in the 2 form affirmative, so it would be as, and then I'm going to do the crossover, and it's a go verb, so no hagas, and then either no haga or no hagan. For ponerse, it's going to be ponte, because this is the 2 form, so it's going to end in te, and it's also irregular with that pon. And then no te pongas, I'm going to do it's a go verb again. And then over here, it's either going to be no se ponga or póngase. Again, it's going to go in between no in the verb if it's negative, or it's going to go on the end if it's affirmative. And then no se pongan or pónganse. And then again, I'm going to just do the come, which is the usted command, or the usted form. And I'm going to add that accent and that pronoun to the end. No lo comas if it's the 2 negative. no lo como, coma, God bless, and then comalo with an accent there, or no lo coman and comanlo for the ustedes command. That brings us to the end of our usted command. Actually, here's one more. Here's jugar. So anyway, this is the usted commands. It's very similar to subjunctive, and I'll hopefully make another video.